Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about Amtrak's newest route, the Borealis.
It is not every day that Amtrak comes up with a new route, so we are super excited to bring you the news of the Amtrak Borealis, which from the name kind of gave it away right there that it's going to be a northern route, and it is definitely northern. You probably won't see the Aurora Borealis from the train, but I guess technically you probably can't because it runs during the day anyway. But when you get to your destination, you could definitely see it in Minnesota. So this is a train that is going to go between Minneapolis, St. Paul, and Chicago, and give a lot more options on that corridor.
That's right. Well, one time we were thinking, we wish there was another way to do this because we were trying to go to Minneapolis from Chicago, and the only option has been the Empire Builder.
Yep. And the reason for that was we were trying to get to that one of those last few ballparks. We're trying to hit every Major League Baseball ballpark. Minneapolis is one that we haven't been to, and so we're trying to do that, but there's no real easy way to get there. So this is going to be real helpful because of the schedule that they've got. It's going to make it real easy. And this train kind of works in tandem with the Empire Builder and the Hiawatha. They do run basically the same route, but it's going to give you a lot more options along that route.
Exactly. So the Hiawatha goes up to Milwaukee, which we've been on that one several times before as well, between it and Chicago. As you know, we spend a lot of time in and out around Chicago. Our son lives there, so we go to visit him there often. Plus, we like Chicago. So we visit there often and try to go do some other fun, places to see. And so we've done the Hiawatha to Milwaukee from there as well, which was actually a pretty good ride. It was nice because it's so quick, and that's one of the things that's helpful. Is the Borealis is going to be a little bit faster theoretically than the Empire Builder. Schedule wise, it's going to be a little bit faster getting there.
Yeah, and the other thing that's kind of interesting about it is that you will be able to have the choice between coach and business class. Now, that's something that you don't get. They will also have cafe service available, which is something that we were very disappointed to find on the Hiawatha that we did not have on the way back, because we went up to Milwaukee, kind of toured around for a little bit, and then we thought, oh, we'll eat on the train on the way back. And we got on the Hiawatha from Milwaukee back to Chicago. We asked the attendant, oh, where's the food? And she said one of the funniest lines we've ever heard on the train, which was, what you do on the Hiawatha for food is you Google pictures of food and look at them, and that's your dinner, because there is no food. So yeah, that was pretty funny, but a little disappointing that there was no food on the Hiawatha.
She laughed and she laughed when she said that, because we were laughing too. But we basically spent the whole train ride trying to decide on where we were going to eat and what was closest to the station when we got to Chicago, because we were going to be so hungry.
Yeah, so I like the fact that there's cafe service on this new Borealis. This almost turns that whole region into a northeast corridor region. In the northeast corridor, they have kind of some sleeper trains. They have the Northeast Regional. They have the Acela. So you can do a lot of different trains to get from New York to DC. And now you're going to be able to do a lot of different trains from Minneapolis to Chicago and Milwaukee. It's kind of like that in my mind, which is pretty nice because options are always good. One of the biggest problems that Amtrak has in any city pair is that almost always there's only one train per day going, and it's usually not at a convenient time that you want to go.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest part, and just the fact that it's it's a sleeper train also, which I think sometimes makes it a little bit wilder of a ride. But you do have the advantage, I think, on the sleeper train too, that you do have the observation car, which you're obviously not going to have on the Borealis.
Yeah, I do kind of think that the sleeper trains are a little bit more prone to being late because there are more moving parts. We've actually started out late on the Empire Builder quite a few times, and it's either because they're trying to wait on some food, or one of the sleeper cars is not quite right. There could be a lot of reasons, but the more cars are on the train, the more possibilities there are for that train to be late. So I think if I was trying to do one that was definitely going to be on time, I would pick the Borealis over the Empire Builder, just based on past experience.
Yeah, so let's talk about, so this train actually starts May 21st. So you can already start booking actually in the app as long as you pick a date after the 21st. You can start booking this, which is always highly recommended. And as you mentioned, there's 2 classes. You can ride in coach or you can ride in business. So let's take a look at what the price difference is going to be between those 2 choices.
Just pulling up some random dates here, and it looks like coach is going to be $41. This is going all the way from Chicago to Minneapolis, St. Paul, and business $98. So a little over double for business. Not quite sure that's worth it. You do get free drinks in business, but the business class seats generally aren't. Let's just say it's not like in a plane where you're in first class and then the economy seats are terrible. Amtrak coach seats are pretty good to begin with, and the business class seats honestly sometimes are not as good as coach. Sometimes they're worse. Very rarely are they like way better, but for the most part, I would just assume that coach is the better deal here.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. We have found oftentimes, sometimes they'll have like an older train car for the business, and then they'll have like a newer one for the coach, and then you're riding in way better seats than the people are in the business car. So definitely keep that in mind when you're picking that out, because honestly, the drinks is not worth. That's the only thing you're really getting is the free drinks. It's not worth all that extra money, almost double.
You would have to drink a lot of drinks to make that worth it. So the timings of this is what we love, because going from Chicago to Minneapolis, the Empire Builder leaves at 3:05. We've left at 4:05. We've left at 7:05 on the Empire Builder, and it gets into Minneapolis at 10:56 p.m., which is really too late. That's later than you want to get there. Mm-hmm. That's what's held us back from doing this and getting off in Minneapolis, is that I don't want to get in there at 11, and I know that if they say 11, it's probably midnight. Then I'm into my hotel, I'm checked in by 1 a.m. That's just too late. But this new Borealis train, which I think will be more on time, leaves Chicago at 11:05 a.m., is going to get into Minneapolis at 6:29 p.m. You could conceivably ride that up there and be in time for a Minnesota Twins game or anything else, but you have your whole night ahead of you still when you get in at 6:30 as opposed to 11 or midnight.
Right, and even if this train is running late, it's still not so late that it's unreasonable. Like, the 1 a.m., yeah, that's really challenging. If you get in late and, like you said, you're checking in at a hotel in the middle of the night, checking into a hotel at 7 or 8 in the evening is no big deal. It's not that bad of a difference. Plus, the price difference, there's no price difference, we can point out, too, between the Borealis and the Empire Builder as far as the coach seats are concerned. And there's no business seats offered on the Empire Builder. So you're either sitting in coach if you're doing this ride, or, you're paying a ridiculous amount to be in a room for 7 hours. Makes no sense.
Yeah, so coming back from going the other direction, it's going to be the Empire Builder leaves at 8:50 in the morning, gets in at 4:45, and the Borealis leaves closer to noon at 11:50, gets in at 7:15 p.m. Again, I think I like the Borealis timetable better. You're still getting in at a reasonable hour, but you don't have to be to the train station at 8 in the morning, which is not something you want to do generally, unless you're a business traveler. But that is probably the one that we would pick, the Borealis, going both ways, because I think that the decision for people will come down to, do you want the better time, or do you want to have the observation car of the Empire Builder, and are you willing to, do you want business class? Because those are really the differences with these trains.
Yeah, and there's that to consider, and just the timetable makes a big difference. But then the other thing is that I think that possibly right now it's just running one time a day each way, but I think as the ridership increases, there's a possibility that they will increase the number of trains running too, which is also something that is, the Empire Builder is going to stay the way it is. It's always going to basically just run one time a day each way. But if the ridership increases considerably on the Borealis, they could add more also, more times too. So I think that would be really helpful also.
That'd be awesome to make it more like a true Northeast Regional, which does leave several times a day because, when we heard this announcement, new train Borealis, it's like, oh, this is amazing. Maybe it's going like into Canada or something. And then we kind of heard what it was, and it was like, okay, that's good. It's really just a baby Empire Builder. Really what it is. They took off the sleeper cars, and it doesn't go as far. So it's good. It gives you more times. But we were initially hoping for like new cities. We didn't get that. But if we can just get this corridor to be one that we can travel freely, like we can travel the Northeast Corridor, Washington, D.C., New York, Boston, that's amazing to travel there because when you travel that corridor, your on-time rate is so much better than the rest of the country. If we could get that same thing to happen here, it would make us want to travel between Minneapolis, Chicago, and Milwaukee a lot more. And that's just something that we're still pretty excited about.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully a lot of you are excited about this too. If you have questions, leave those down in the comments. Hopefully this was helpful to you if you were trying to figure out all the information about it. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. If you found this informational, give us a like, and we'll see you guys next time.